Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, second Sunday of Advent. We are happy to have you with us this morning, and we're going to just get warmed up a little bit here vocally. And ask you to sing along with us here. We're going to sing Deck the Halls. If you don't know the words, they're up on the screen. I hope you know the words. I will share this with you. The second verse is not on the screen. It is, see the blazing jewel before us, strike the harp and join the chorus, follow me in your measure. There will be a test. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, la 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 la. Coming out our gay apparel, la 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 la. Joy ancient Yuletide carol, la 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 la. See the blazing jewel before us. Strike the harp and join the chorus. Follow me in merry measure. While I tell of Yuletide treasure. Excellent job. Way to go, you guys. We're going to sing another called Angels from the Realm of Glory. And if you don't know, I'll sing this verse. You can follow along and we'll catch up to you on the next verse. Angels from the realms of glory, in your flight o'er the earth. You sing creation's story, now proclaim the Messiah's birth. Come and worship, worship Christ, the newborn King. Shepherds in the field abiding, watching your daughters by night. God with man is now residing, God where shines the infant light. Come and worship, worship Christ, the newborn King. Sages lead your contemplations, brighter visions beam afar. See the great desire of nations, we have seen his maker's star. Come and worship, worship Christ, the newborn King.
Good morning. Welcome to everyone here, as well as those joining us online, to Unity Spiritual Center, where we are about transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ocean, and I am today's platform assistant this morning. If you would now please take a moment to silence your cell phones, and before you do, feel free to check in and tell the world you're here on social media so they can know to tune in with us online at Unity Spiritual Center Live. We would like to begin our time together by sharing our opening affirmation. I will say it once and then ask you to repeat it with me. There is only one presence and one power, active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. Together? There is only one presence and one power, active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. This is Unity's foundation principle. One presence, one power, one life, living through and as each one of us. This morning, we will get to hear from Reverend Jane, who will be sharing the Sunday message entitled, through the eyes of Joseph and Mary. Reverend Jane will also be leading our meditation. And we are blessed musically this morning by Sean and Tawny Wright. Let's give it up. And let's begin by standing and singing our community song.
We're going to sing Go Tell It on the Mountain. If you could stand as you're able, that would be great. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain, Jesus Christ is born. While shepherds kept watching for silent flocks by night, he rolled throughout the heavens, there shone a holy Thursday night at 7. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Down in the lowly manger, the humble Christ was born, and God sent us a message that blessed Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Jesus
Morning. I'm Linda Tweedy, and I have the announcements. I'm going to start out with my own. The bookstore has 20% off of all the calendars and journals and Christmas stuff. So come in and buy something for somebody for a gift for Christmas. And then next up is David Lineweber and Tara, but Tara's not here. So.
Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm David Lineweber. I'm the chair of your board, and I also am the coordinator for our blood drives here, which is next Sunday. And we need new donors. We need some more people. We need some more pints. More blood, yeah. And, you know, I know a lot of people have fear around giving blood, and it really is not all that painful. You know, they're very gentle. They're really friendly people out there in the Bloodmobile, and I would encourage you to stop by. I'll be out at the desk in the up by the front door after the church, getting people signed up for time slots and so forth. And if you're curious about this or think, you know, maybe I want to do this, but I'm not sure about it, come talk to me. I'd be happy to chat with you about it and my experience. And we need more bodies. 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds, somewhere in the United States, somebody needs blood. 200 times a day in the inland Northwest, somebody needs blood. And it all comes from people like us that just, you know, stick out an arm and let them tap it and give a pint. So I'd encourage you to please stop by and chat with me about it. Thank you.
Next up is Jane.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I just want to say a couple of things about some of the special services that we have coming up during this season, holiday season. The first being our Christmas Eve service, where we will be doing candle lighting. And it's a beautiful evening of song and ceremony and ritual, beautiful, beautiful music. And so I invite you to be there for that at 7 o'clock if you are in town and can join us. The second one is on December 30th during the Sunday service time. We'll be doing a burning bowl service, but it'll be a little different than we've done in the past. So typically at the end of the year, we do a ceremony where we write down things we're ready to release, and then we come and burn it. We actually have a burning bowl up here. But this year, Unity World Headquarters at Unity Village have put out the call, and they're asking all of us in the Unity movement to send them things that we want to release, and they're going to do a giant burning of everybody in the whole movement. So we won't be burning here. It will be the unburning bowl. We will still be doing a meditation on release. We'll still be doing the releasing ceremony and having us write down things that we're ready to let go of. But we'll just gather up those papers and we'll send them off to Unity Village. And you can actually watch it happen online. January 9th, they're doing this giant burning of all that we have to get rid of in the Unity movement. So please plan to be here for that and to join in the rest of the movement as we burn, baby, burn. All right, thanks.
Good morning. My name is Al Konigsfeld. I'm one of the group's spirit group leaders, and I have a bit of a challenge this morning. When I took this position over from Tara, we had a lot of groups that were already established and going, and I found it difficult to find enough new groups for the people who wanted to join. So if you belong to a long-established spirit group, I know you're comfortable. I know it's become a second family. I know it's become a part of your life. But I'm going to ask you to stretch your boundaries a little bit and look to see if there are people in your group, members of that close-knit little family, that are ready to spread their wings and start their own groups. So I'd like every member of a spirit group to prayerfully consider whether perhaps this is the year to step out of the group that you've been in for months and maybe years and take the challenge to start a new group of your own. Thank you so much.
All right. So go visit with Al if that's something that you are inclined to do. I just have a short announcement. You probably perhaps have seen and noticed the blue bulletin board out in the foyer next to the desk that David will be at. Anyway, it's an opportunity for anybody in our community to post information that you would like to share with other folks in our ministry. For instance, if you're in a spirit groups and you're doing a service project and you want items that you're wanting to give away to the homeless, you can put a little advertisement and get people to respond. I noticed that somebody has a request for a ride. Those are the kinds of things to put up there, and so feel free to just use that bulletin board, and then once a month our staff will be taking everything off and placing it in a basket at the bottom of the bulletin board. And if you want to put your announcement or your invitation back up there, you just go right ahead and do that. So I just want to let you know that that's out, and we'll see how it unfolds. Thank you very much. Time for meditation. So as we center ourselves for our time of meditation, let us begin by focusing our awareness on our heart space. And so just imagine right in your very center, there's this warm glow. And perhaps you can even feel your beating heart. And as you hold your attention at your center, feel the love that you have for anyone, anything, and just hold that feeling of love, and feel your center open. And now imagine that warmth at our body center is connected to the center of the person in front of you, beside you, behind you, so that there is no one left out of this web of connection. Heart to heart. And in this connection, this web, we have formed a safety net that enables us to hold within our midst any life situation or circumstance, and know that our love, our connection, heart to heart, in the awareness of who we are as the beloved child. Let us linger in this awareness of our connection, heart to heart, and expand this web to everyone that we know. Let them connect, come to us now, so that there is no one left out. And truly, now we can know what child this is. So it is. Amen.
What child is this who laid to rest on Mary's mother's feet? Whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds watch our Christ the King, who shepherds God and angels sing. Haste, haste to bring in love the babe, the Son of Mary.
Thank you. Don't you love that song? That is one of my favorites. Beautiful. Well, good morning, everyone. Throughout the month of December, whenever I'm speaking, I'm going to be exploring the Christmas story through the lens of metaphysics. Metaphysics just means beyond the physical. So in other words, it's the looking at the symbology, the metaphoric meaning of this story. And today we're going to look through the eyes of two of the main characters, namely Mary and Joseph. But before we do that, let's start out with a little reminder of what this story is from a child's point of view.
An angel came to see Mary. She was doing laundry, and then the angel just appeared and she was really scared. So Gabriel was like, Mary, you're gonna have, what? I can't say it good. Mary, you're gonna have a baby. you're going to have a baby and you will call him Jesus. And then Mary was like, I'm not going to have a baby yet. I'm only a teenager. I'm not married. Then the angel Gabriel told Joseph that Mary is not lying. You are having a new baby. And so they met up. They went to Bethlehem, which was Joseph's old town. They ride a donkey. A camel. Oh yeah, a camel. She said, this donkey's fast. They tried to go to a hotel and they asked the keeper for a place to stay. The keeper said, we have no rooms. Literally no rooms. So Mary and Joseph walked away sadly, but then he said, the only place here in Bethlehem that you can stay is a stable. And then he just pointed the way and they followed. When the shepherds were taking care of the sheep, then they saw angels. The angel said, a new baby is getting born, who is King of the Jews. The angel was singing. Glorious. And then the shepherd said, I think we should go there and meet him. The second, I think, said, yeah, I agree with you. And the other said, yeah, me too. They had to walk through a bunch of grass and bushes, maybe have to camp out at night. And then the wise men heard about it, and then a star appeared. We should probably follow that star. It's pointing down to the barn. So maybe we should follow it. Maybe. So the wise men went to Jesus. They gave them gifts. A stuffed animal, like a hippo one, that I have at home. Some diapers, and some wipes, and some milk, some shoes, some Jordans. Gold, frank, and Latimer. And I don't know how it would survive in that barn. Too stinky, too crowded, and ugh. I think he probably pooped because the room was very smelly. Thank you for coming. He's adorable. He's gonna be our best friend. I love you, and you the best baby I ever seen. There, I said it. The new baby is gonna change the world.
From the mouths of babes. I don't know about you, but I love this time of year, don't you? Do you? Yes? I love the music, I love the decorations, I love the get-togethers, the food, the gift-giving, and most of all, I love the magic and the wonder of the Christmas story. But we might be wondering, is it a true story? Did it really happen? Is it an accurate account of real events? Or is it mythology? Is it a legend? What do you think? Jury's out. Yes, yes. And the answer I have is it real or is it mythology? The answer I have is I don't know. But I've come to realize that it really doesn't matter. And here's why. Because encoded within this story is a deeper truth with a capital T. It's the story of the soul's journey of awakening. And it's a universal story. And so we can explore this story with metaphysical eyes to find that truth, to see what it really means to each one of us personally, right here, right now. What does this story mean to me? What does the story of the birth of Jesus have to do with our spiritual journey? But to do that, we need to look at the symbology of the story. So I want to share some research with you this morning that is written about in this book, Bible Myths and Their Parallels in Other Religions. This is a book that was required reading for me in my theology class in my doctoral program. And as I read it, I was quite intrigued to find that so much of the symbology and the events that we can read about in Scripture actually showed up in many other faith traditions that predate Christianity. So for instance, looking at the Christmas story, virgin birth, angels heralding the arrival of an avatar, stars giving signs in the heavens, all of these symbols you can find in earlier traditions: Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Greek mythology, and other facets of the story of Jesus, the temptations, performing miracles, death and resurrection, all of that you can find in earlier religions. But I have to tell you that knowing that doesn't make me want to dismiss the whole thing. Actually, on the contrary, I find that so fascinating. I actually take that as an exciting sign that these symbols have some real value and importance, and that I should pay attention, because it has meaning for me in my own spiritual journey of awakening. Every one of us can look at the story in this way. So with that in mind, let's turn our attention to some of the elements of the story of the birth of Jesus and listen to the narrative with a metaphysical heart. Are you up for it? Yes. And it begins in the book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 26, when the angel Gabriel visits Mary, a virgin betrothed to a man named Joseph, who was of the house of David. And the angel says, "Hail, O favored one, the Lord is with you." And this greeting troubles Mary, and she's fearful. So Gabriel says, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God, and behold, you will conceive in your womb and bear a son, and you shall call his name Jesus." Now this news caused a bit of a stir in Mary, since she was unmarried. And the angel explains it's the Holy Spirit that will cause her to conceive. Wow, now this is a pretty extraordinary story, wouldn't you agree? You know, of all the women written about in the scriptures, Mary may be the one who is most beloved. And the reason is because her innocence, her purity shine through. And as the story goes, she had faith. She trusted, she believed in spirit, she was receptive to the possibility. So here's a 15-year-old unmarried girl being told the Holy Spirit will cause her to bring forth a child, and that her son will be called the Most High. Just imagine that moment through her eyes. Would you feel fear? Especially you men. But just imagine how strong her faith would need to be in order for her to not only accept this news, which could be seen as such a disgrace to her, but to go beyond that, to bless the news. And that's what she does. So Mary had the willingness, she had the childlike innocence, she had the receptivity to believe it was possible. She had hope in the possibility, faith that something good was on its way, something greater was coming forth. And we all have that kind of faith inside of us, every single one of us, because there is a Mary inside of every one of us. And that is the part of us that is in such a state of purity and innocence, that through that purity, a state of higher existence can be conceived and brought forth. Do you know that about yourself? Say it like you mean it. Yes. So as we become still, because that's what we need to do in order to contact this, as we open our hearts in gratitude to this news and in a state of willingness and faith, invite Spirit into our conscious awareness, amazing things can happen and can come forth. So what we're talking about here is our spiritual potential. You see, and our part is to allow it to come forth, to grow, to develop, to be brought into manifestation. It's the holy birth that takes place within every one of us. So Mary represents pure intuition, the deeper intuitive intelligence of the heart. And that's how the awareness of the presence of God comes to us, through the intuition, through our purity, our innocence, through the heart, and through our willingness and our receptivity to allow it to happen. Now at this point, there's an interesting little side story that shows up the angel tells Mary that her cousin Elizabeth is 6 months pregnant and that she should go and visit her. So she journeys to the house of Zechariah and Elizabeth, and sure enough, Elizabeth is indeed pregnant, as the angel has told her. And when Mary is greeted by her cousin, the baby in Elizabeth's womb jumps for joy at recognition of the Christ presence. Now, the child that's born to Zechariah and Elizabeth grows up to be who? John the Baptist, the forerunner to Jesus' ministry. And it's an interesting little insert to the story. So what does this mean metaphysically? Well, John the Baptist represents the illumined intellect. In other words, an open mind filled with understanding. And metaphysically, when that baby leaps for joy in recognition of the presence of the Christ, do you see how this means that when you and I are searching for spiritual understanding, and then we find what we're looking for, when we discover the truth, isn't that a joyous moment? Yes. Have you ever had an aha moment where you suddenly saw something you didn't see before? You had a recognition of something greater within you. Well, the truth of our spiritual identity is cause for us to leap with joy. And I promise you, one of these Sundays, I'm going to have us all get up and do a leap. What about Joseph? Was he leaping for joy? Imagine your bride-to-be comes to you and announces the Holy Spirit has conceived a child. Would you be a little concerned about this news? Well, so was he. I mean, can you feel the drama in this story? There's drama here. There's a book called The Tabloid Bible that looks at some of these stories in Scripture and describes them with, headlines like, God creates world in, only 6 days. And in this case, the headline reads, Teenager in love, carpenter denies rumors. So you can see the scandal here if we look at the outer appearances. But then an angel appears to Joseph in a dream and says, all is well, the story is true, you can marry her. Now, the interesting thing here is that in the story, an angel appears directly to Mary. They have a face-to-face conversation. So the intuition has a direct revelation. Joseph, on the other hand, gets the news in a dream. Now, Joseph represents the intellect, the rational thinking mind. And Mary's the heart, Joseph's the head. Spiritual enlightenment comes more directly through the heart, the feeling nature, the intuition, as it did with Mary. The intellect actually has to be asleep, in a sense. The thoughts need to be stilled in order to get that message through. But the mind has to be open to receive it. And Joseph had an open mind. An open mind is essential for this birth to take place. So how open is your mind to the possibility of bringing forth something greater in your life? That's the question. We need open heart and open mind. Now, through his dreams, Joseph was not only told of the birth, but he was also warned to flee Herod, to go to Egypt, and then told when it was safe to return. And so this aspect of guidance, of listening to his dreams and following them, was a very significant aspect of Joseph's role in this story. So metaphysically, what qualities of Joseph do we have within us that can help us to protect and nurture the coming forth of the divine presence, the true wholeness within us? Well, the openness, the willingness, and an expectancy that we will be guided and taken care of, no matter what's happening on the outside. And then following the guidance that we receive. This is Joseph's role in the story. He heard the voice, and he followed it. He did as he was guided to do from within, and he accepted his role in the story. He devotedly cares for Mary. So we need to be in the right state of mind. There needs to be a connection between the intellect and the intuition, between mind and heart. Our intellect has to be open, receptive to the birth. And when heart and mind come together in one accord, in alignment, You see, that's called the divine marriage. And the universe supports us when we align our thoughts and feelings, listening to the guidance, willingly following Spirit's lead. So this divine marriage is the balancing of our intuitive intelligence with the rational intellect. And when that marriage takes place, we can experience the inner birth of this Christ Spirit, which is the dawning on our minds of the truth of who we are. Isn't that cool? Yes. Seriously. So our story continues. Shortly before the birth of Jesus, a decree is sent out by the Roman government for people to enroll in their home city for taxation. And so Joseph and Mary travel to Bethlehem to participate in the census. Mary being very close to giving birth, and she rode on a donkey, if you remember, with Joseph walking. Now, a census is an interesting symbol when you think about it. What would be a metaphysical census? Being counted, yes. And it's about self-awareness. It's about looking within and seeing what is happening inside of ourselves. Anyone in a 12-step program knows the value of doing a personal inventory. And this is looking honestly at the character traits, the beliefs that may be holding us back from expressing our true nature. So our intellect, our intuition come together and take an inventory in order to bring forth the birth, asking the question, what's in our way of this divine understanding of who we are? But we take this inventory with self-compassion, with kindness, with authenticity. And of course, the Q process can help us do that when we see that. Now, here's a belief that's getting in the way of my awakening to a deeper dimension of myself, of who I am. And this is so important to do because we will only see in our world what we believe to be true, even if that belief is unconscious. So we want to bring it out into the light of day with compassion in order to do the integration work that's needed to change that belief, to let this new understanding of who we are come forth. But it's not just taking stock of the things that are in our way, it's also looking within and finding our gifts, finding our strengths, and developing those. And the end of the year is a great time to take this internal inventory. What strengths have I developed this year? What challenges have I walked through and found myself on the other side? Those are great questions to ask ourselves. And again, the Q process can help with that too. So I don't like to get too mired in jargony metaphysical terms. What this simply means is that we must be willing to bring our logical, rational thinking mind into alignment with the heart-centered, intuitive feeling. And in that balanced place with self-compassion, we call forth the faith, the courage to look within, to see what may be holding us back from expressing the beauty and the innocence of our true nature. And we listen for the spiritual guidance we receive when we stay in that place of willing expectancy. And we get ready for the birth as we take stock of the strengths and the gifts that can help to bring it forth. So in our story, Mary and Joseph head for Bethlehem, which literally means city of bread. And metaphysically, bread signifies substance, the divine essence that underlies all of creation. We conceive of a divine idea, it's brought forth into manifestation through spiritual essence in the city of Bethlehem. But where in Bethlehem? There was no room at the inn. Have you ever heard of the stress test that a psychologist named Thomas Holmes developed in order to measure stress in our lives? A score of 200 is considered dangerous to your health. Well, they applied this test to Mary and Joseph's experience. And they came up with this. Pregnancy, 40 points. Unplanned, another 20. Getting married, 50 points. Failing to book a room, 40 points. And I would add being 8 3/4 months pregnant and riding on a donkey. Just the thought of that makes me cringe. Then all the guests at Christmas, wise men, shepherds, angels, coming and going, little drummer boys showing up, banging on drums. No useful gifts like diapers or food. 50 more points. So this brings the stress level right to the danger zone of 200. So right from the beginning, Christmas has always been a stressful time. But in the midst of all that stress, we can find peace. First, though, we have to deal with no room at the inn. No room at the inn, metaphysically. That's an indication of our spiritual condition. Do we have room in our hearts to allow this birth to come forth? Or do we get so caught up in the busyness of life? Do we experience the wonder, the joy of the season, or do we lose it in the hustle, the bustle, the pressures this time of year? If we can't find Christmas in our hearts, we're not going to find it under the tree either. What about the inn of our minds? Is there room in it for the discovery of the divinity within? Or is it crowded with thoughts of the world? You know, there's a saying that the problems of humanity come from either thinking too small, thinking too big, or thinking too much. When we're so involved with the outer world, there's no room for the Christ to be born in our awareness. We're too preoccupied with what is going on inside of us to remember to look within. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Yes. We need to make room for the sacred. We need to make room for the holy. We need to make room for the good to manifest in our lives. We need to be our own kindly innkeepers, lead ourselves into this place of peace, make sure that we've left room in the manger of our hearts in order to experience the birth. And we do that by going into the silence. The theme for this second week of Advent is peace. Even when we're in the midst of the stress, there's a place of peace we can return to if we silence the mind and make room in the inn. So I invite you throughout this Christmas season, take some time in the midst of all the hurry, all the pressure of the holidays to get still, to listen to your heart. Clear out the inn. Are you thinking too small, too big, too much? It's time to release any thoughts or beliefs that may be keeping you from being present and awake. And let that divine marriage take place. Head and heart in alignment. And then take the time to let the sacred come forth. The birth of the awareness of the innocence that lives within you. The deeper dimension of who you are. Let it rise up. Recognize that presence. That is the true reality within you. And get ready to leap for joy. And so it is.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. It's Jane's birthday, too, day after tomorrow, and for those that didn't know, so. Me lady. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know that there is only one power, one presence, one life. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your journey of transformation, you are welcome here. We would especially like to welcome anyone who is here for the first time. So if you're visiting for the first time and you feel comfortable raising your hand, our ushers have a gift packet for you. Do we? Yes, we do. Welcome. We have a few hands going up. That's terrific. On the outside of the packet, you'll see there's a form you can fill out to be added to our mailing list for our weekly e-news update and our quarterly newsletter. If you're interested, please fill it in and drop it in the love offering bag as it comes around, rather than giving a donation today. Also, after the service, you can take that packet to our barista stand and get a free bevy of your choice. And you can also take it to our bookstore and get a CD of today's Sunday talk, which was just awesome. If you have any questions, you can also ask a member of our welcome team. Where are some of our welcome team members? I'm looking for the yellow scarves. I don't know if I see any yellow scarves. Well, I'm pretending to wear a yellow scarf with all my gold today, so if you didn't get to fill out a name tag before the service and you would like one, you can also fill out one in the seat pocket in front of you, and we thank you so much for coming. We're very glad you're here. We would also like to welcome our online viewers. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And now is the time when we can welcome and greet each other with a handshake, a hug, a high five, a fist bump, a hip bump, a namaste, whatever works for you. And we'll begin with our welcome song.
Please stand if you can. We're going to sing We Wish You a Merry Christmas, and we can do a hip bump. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings to you wherever you are. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. All right, give each other a hug.
I live for that gong. Good morning. My name is Jim Sledge, and I have the privilege of being the treasurer on your board of trustees. And this is the time in our service where we appreciate and acknowledge your gifts and your financial contributions to this wonderful place. And I was thinking when Jane was talking, when I was younger, I took a lot more joy and excitement in receiving. And over the years, I've turned that around, and I honestly don't really care too much what I get. Don't tell my wife that, though, because she still needs to do that. But I do take tremendous joy in giving, and that's what this season engenders in me, is more a sense of that giving, because I know the more I give, the more I'm going to receive. I mean, that's one of our spiritual laws. So as we approach this season, if you would take that into your hearts and act on it as well. Let's say our prosperity blessing together. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share, and so it is.
We have a fantastic song here for you this morning by a composer named Matt Mayer, and it's perfectly in line with Jane's talk here this second Sunday of Advent and the concept of peace. Let there be peace, let it start in me. One star burns in the darkness, shines with the promise, Emmanuel. One child born in the stillness, living within us, Emmanuel. We're singing. sing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let start in me. One voice speaks for the voiceless, hope for the homeless, Emmanuel. One love brings us together, now and forever, Emmanuel. We're singing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let there be peace. We're singing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let it start in me. Do not be afraid, love is strong enough to find us. Nothing stands in the way, love is strong enough to lead us. Do not be afraid, this love is strong enough to find us. Nothing stands in the way, this love is strong enough to lead us. We sing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let there be peace. We sing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let it start in me. We sing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let there be peace. We sing glory, glory. Let there be peace, let it start in me. Let there be peace, let it start in me.
I thought I got emotional last time. That was really terrific. Can we have another round of applause for them, please? Sean and Tani are amazing. We are super blessed to have them. Okay. Now is our time to celebrate our abundance together as we share our tithes and... Oh, my page wasn't turned. I apologize. We give thanks for these gifts and for those who have given them as we send them forth to bless our world. And so it is. And as we are giving thanks for the gifts we are receiving at Unity Spiritual Center, we want to take time to thank all of those in service to our ministry. Well, today we are wanting to say a special thank you for our Holly Berry Ball Committee, which happened Friday night. For those of you who didn't get to attend, please come next year. It's one of my favorite nights of the entire year. So much fun. Would everyone who was a part of the Holly Berry Ball Committee, could you just stand up so we can recognize you, please? A lot of work goes into that. Some amazing people. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. In fact, you can't just do it with the committee. There was a lot of people who donate. Stay standing, would you please, our committee. Anyone who donated, procured items for the silent auction, please stand up. And even to the attendees, everyone who got to come, please stand up. Please stand up. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. We're going to have an update on the funds that were raised from Ron, I understand, at some point, not today, but soon. It was a good evening. Abundance all the way around. Our cup runneth over. Anyway, we're very grateful for your service, and I hope to be on the committee next year, because I don't have enough going on. Our prayer chaplains for today, if they would come forward, are Amber and Diane. Amber McKenzie and Diane Hunter in the house. Come on up here. Amber, actually probably they both have been holding the entire service in prayer, which one of our chaplains does every service. So if you have anything heavy on your heart, or celebration that you'd like to share, you can pray with one of our lovely chaplains. They will hold it in prayer with you, and they will be up here up front in the sanctuary after the service. Thank you both so much for your service to our ministry. It's a pleasure serving with you. You can also fill out a prayer request form found in the seat pocket in front of you and put it in one of our prayer boxes or give to one of our prayer chaplains. Our prayer team will pray with you on it for 7 days, and then the prayers are sent on to Silent Unity to be prayed over for 30 days. It's big stuff. Also, if you know of someone who's in the hospital and has requested a visit from one of our chaplains, you can also fill out a visitation request form, also in the seat back pocket in front of you. And I think now is time for our children. Are they gathering? They're getting here. So we may have a couple of rounds of it, but we're going to sing Jingle Bell Rock. Jingle bell rock. Jingle bells shine and jingle bells snowing and blowing the bushes of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell rock. Jingle bell chime in jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air.
Mix and mingle and jingle and beat. That's the Jingle Bell Rock. It's a right time, it's a right time to rock the night away. A Jingle Bell time is a swell time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, and pick up your feet. Jingle around the clock. Mix and mingle and jingle and beat. That's the Jingle Bell, that's the Jingle Bell, that's the Jingle Bell Rock.
Oh, welcome to our children. We're so delighted you're here. We're going to continue our journey today into Christmas with the second week of Advent as we prepare our hearts to feel and know the peace that passes all human understanding.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay.
I'm going to sneak down.
Hold on. Hi.
Can I get by? Thank you.
Okay, so I am here to read the okay. We are Jonathan, Taylor, Brooksley, and Sarah Ramos. And we light this candle to represent peace. God's peace is mine. All things contribute to the calm peace of my soul. Peace is always possible, even on the busiest of days. I am never far away from what the Apostle Paul called the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding. I am a living expression of God, just as every person is. I know that peace, like all of God's qualities, seeks expression in my life. In the stillness of prayer, I embrace God's peace, allowing for it to fill my body, mind, and spirit. Centered in the stillness of God, I go about my daily activities, affirming, God's peace is mine. All things contribute to the calm peace of my soul. Interruptions and inconveniences no longer upset me. So I'm on the hook for that now. My peaceful presence blesses me and everyone I meet. And to quote Philippians 4:7, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Okay, now is the time for the children's blessing. We want to rub our hands together, get some magic going. Let's say it together. Be the love you are. Sing the song you hear. Share your joy of life with people far and near. and for ourselves. Be the love we are, sing the song we hear, share our joy of life with people far and near. All righty, if you want to find your peeps, your tribe, the folks you came with, it's like an open house. All right, we're just about back to our places. If you'd like to please stand if you are able, and we'll join together for our closing prayer, and then followed by Joy to the World. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And that's the truth.
Remember, as you go through this week, be prepared to leap for joy. And so it is.
Nice job.